finished my assignment and decided to stay on for an extra week. I noticed the hotel I'm staying at had an abundance of stewardesses. I had the idea I might like to do some research on the unusual lifestyles of these women. Where exactly did they live? Where were their families? Sort of documentary film.
I enjoyed this one. I think the filmmakers did a great job at capturing a moment in this era and presenting it in a really fun and interesting way. I really enjoyed everything about the aesthetics here. The wardrobes, even the makeup, the hair even, just really felt on point and true to the period. The cinematography was great. I loved what they did. Even their choices for the font, the typesetting on screen was really great, and again on point for the era. I enjoyed the way it goes from the high definition footage to this 8mm handheld style. I thought that really lent credibility to it and reminded you where you are. If the wardrobes and the manner of speaking didn't do it for you, that would. So yeah, it all comes together really well. Absolutely worth checking out.
I loved the 1950s nostalgic throwback. It's one of my favorite times in terms of aesthetics. Politics, not so much, but aesthetics. And they did that brilliantly. Everything felt authentic. The costumes, the set dressing was absolutely gorgeous. So props to that team. And you also felt that imposed male gaze that the culture and the time was viewed through, which they picked up in a really interesting kind of self-referential way without being preachy about it. There's a very present juxtaposition between freedom and oppression that permeated the piece. And the actors carried these juxtapositions really well, especially with their current awareness of the cultural progressions. So there was a great dive into kind of society's expectations under this veil of glamour and this bright-eyed optimism of the time. So overall, I thought it was a very successful piece and very high quality, from the text to the font to the sound and to all of the actors.
It's a fantastic story. The characters are also interesting and well developed. They work well with each other, but also separately. The story keeps you engaged the entire time, and you're always wondering what the character will say and do next. When the character does do something that you're not particularly used to seeing, it makes you that much more engaged to find out more about these characters and more about the film. The dialogue is also very strong, and it is so unique to each character. You always know who is talking when they're speaking. The symbolism of this film and what women have to go through is also extremely compelling, and it just makes for an overall strong film.
I really liked this. I thought it was really interesting. It had a very 60s, maybe into 70s feel to it, and that goes all the way through to the camera that they were shooting on and everything. And I loved the effects that they used when they were, showing you through the lens of that camera versus when it was you were getting the full picture, including Kevin, the camera guy. So I really liked that, all of that, the architecture, the lighting, the details in the hotel room, all of these things were really, really well nuanced, and I really liked that. I appreciated it. Overall, I thought it held tone beginning to end. It held that kind of stylized era beginning to end. I really liked it. I thought it was really fascinating.
It's definitely sporting a classic 50s vibe. I love the scenes through the nostalgic camera lens, and the decor in the apartment was true to the time as well. So it was a really fun film, and altogether quite fabulous.
Subject matter is perplexing at times, but pretty consistently engrossing, I'd say, as we try to figure out exactly what is this relationship between these two stewardesses. What are the true intentions of this documentarian? Does he want to, take it above the detached voyeurs, approach and get intimately involved? and we are given some answers by the end, others not, but we're definitely given a strong sense of emotion and of the kind of frivolity of this life. You know, being a stewardess is, especially back in those days, was something that was very much a flash in the pan, because in a way you had an expiration date, and we see that affect the relationship between the two stewardesses in this. An interesting film that definitely, I think, benefits as well from repeated viewings.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this piece. I thought it was really well shot, and I thought it was a really interesting story. Truly, I feel like all of the filmmakers involved made a lot of great decisions in like telling this piece, because it was, you know, it's a little out of the ordinary, and it has like a very, just a specific kind of perspective that's necessary to tell this story, and I feel like it was really strong.
I really like this one. It was very quirky, and it's very stylistic, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the cinematography. The cinematography was amazing, and I loved how stylistic it was, how it kind of jumped between like them recording on the film and then the like almost like the God camera, where, you know, the normal cinematic approach to it. And I really liked that kind of melding of the two, because it really puts you in the time and in their shoes. And I love the aspect of the journalist and everything about that, and just the kind of quirky humor and just the kind of the off the wall, just little quirks. It's hard to describe, but it's very quirky. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun watch. I love the editing too. The editing was fantastic. Overall, I think this is a very quirky movie that everyone can enjoy.